Hello everyone, welcome back to a new online lesson. We're going to continue today working on unit number 3. This is the second video of unit number 3, lesson 3.2. So, as I told you before, we're also going to be talking about celebrations. And this part of the lesson is called, Do You Like New Year? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a very, very common celebration among people all over the world. So, we're also going to be learning about ways to say what you do in your free time and talk about habits and customs. Okay, so first we have here someone, right, who says we celebrate Diwali, the Hindu New Year. It's usually in October or November. Okay, so a different New Year that the one that we celebrate here in Chile. Now, when do you celebrate the New Year? Well, probably as we all do, right? On December the 31st, right? Or the 1st, that change of year. But let me know if in your family you have any other tradition. You have Chinese New Year, right? And different celebrations apart from the regular one. But do you like New Year? Do you like this celebration? Why or why not? I really enjoy New Year, but it's not my favorite celebration. I prefer Christmas 100%, right? I like that you can get together with your family. I like eating good food, right? And listening to good music. But um, I think that sometimes New Year is for people who like to celebrate a lot, who like to go to parties and dance and drink things, right? And be up until super late hours in the morning, right? And I really enjoy sleeping. So I like it, but it's not my favorite. Now we're going to start with a listening activity. We're going to listen to Min from Korea and Paul, that's Paul, say hi, from the UK, and they are talking about New Year. First question, very open. Do they like it or don't? Let's see.
Track 34.
1.
So, Min, what do you think about New Year?
Well, we have 2 New Years, one on January the 1st and Solal in January or February. That's a 3-day holiday.
Oh, really? What does Solal mean?
Well, it's our traditional New Year. Solal is an important holiday for us. I love it.
What do you usually do?
My family and I sometimes go to the sea in Gangneung. You can stay up and see the first sunrise of the new year. But usually, I go to my parents' house. And my brother and his family often come too. It's a family time.
And do the children do anything special?
Yes, they dress up in special clothes and we all play family games like Yonori. It's like chess.
Do you eat a special meal?
What do we eat? Well, we usually have soup with rice cakes in the morning.
And do you go out at all?
Yes, sometimes. In the afternoon or evening, we always see friends. They come to us or we go to their homes and play more games. It's very nice.
2.
So, Paul, do you like New Year?
Do I like New Year? No, not really. No, I don't.
Oh, why not?
I don't know. For me, New Year's just a normal day. It's not special.
So, what do you usually do then?
I stay at home and read or, watch a film.
And what time do you go to bed?
I usually stay up late, have a beer, watch the fireworks at midnight from the window. I guess I go to bed at 1 or 2.
So, what does your wife do? Does she stay at home with you?
No, she loves New Year. Well, she loves parties. She usually goes out with friends from work.
Does she ask you to go with her?
No, no. But it's okay. She has a good time, I have a good time. And that's it, really.
Right.
Okay, so let's start with Min. Does Min like New Year? Yes, right? She loves it. She doesn't talk about the traditional New Year that we celebrate, right? They talk about their own tradition. Yes, and she loves it. What about Paul? Does Paul like New Year? Not at all, right? He thinks that it's just a normal day like any other, right? His wife, though, she loves it as well. Yes? Now, let's see. We're going to listen again. Wait a bit.
Track 30.
We're going to listen again for the second activity. Okay, so here you have to circle the correct word from the conversations. You have two options for each case and you have to choose which one is the correct one. Okay, so we're going to listen again. If you don't need to listen, you can skip this part. Okay?
34.
1,
So, Min, what do you think about New Year?
Well, we have 2 New Years, one on January the 1st and Solal in January or February. That's a 3-day holiday.
Oh, really? What does Solal mean?
Well, it's our traditional New Year. Solal is an important holiday for us. I love it.
What do you usually do?
My family and I sometimes go to the sea in Gangnong. You can stay up and see the first sunrise of the new year. But usually I go to my parents' house, and my brother and his family often come too. It's a family time.
And do the children do anything special?
Yes, they dress up in special clothes and we all play family games like Yonori. It's like chess.
Do you eat a special meal?
What do we eat? Well, we usually have soup with rice cakes in the morning.
And do you go out at all?
Yes, sometimes. In the afternoon or evening, we always see friends. They come to us or we go to their homes and play more games. It's very nice.
2,
So, Paul, do you like New Year?
Do I like New Year? No, not really. No, I don't.
Oh, why not?
I don't know. For me, New Year's just a normal day. It's not special.
So, what do you usually do then?
I stay at home and read or, watch a film.
And what time do you go to bed?
I usually stay up late, have a beer, watch the fireworks at midnight from the window. I guess I go to bed at 1 or 2.
So, what does your wife do? Does she stay at home with you?
No, she loves New Year. Well, she loves parties. She usually goes out with friends from work.
Does she ask you to go with her?
No, no. But it's okay. She has a good time, I have a good time. And that's it, really.
Right.
Okay, so let's check your answers. First, we have me. I usually go to my parents' house. Very good. Now look at here. This is a reminder of the possessive S on singular and plural nouns, right? See the difference for plurals and singulars. You can go to page 132 to practice a bit more, right? And remember that we have exercises about this on our virtual classroom as well, right? Number 2, we all play family games. Were you able to pick up the name of the game? It was Yunori, something like that. Similar to chess, right? Good. Number 3, we eat soup with rice cakes in the morning. Very good. Paul, I stay at home and read. I usually stay up late and my wife loves parties, right? Very good. Now, read how often and Min and Paul do these things and complete 1 to 3 with a highlighted word. So here we're going to be talking about an important topic of this unit. And when we talk, because we have discussed that the present simple, we use it to talk about habits and routines. Yes? And when we talk about habits and routines, we make use of very important words which are called adverbs of frequency. If you look at the sentences, you will see that all the highlighted words are adverbs of frequency. Sometimes, always, often, usually. We have plenty more, and I'm going to be showing you more examples, okay? Because these are just the basic ones. We have generally, right? Hardly ever, rarely, occasionally, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's read the examples, and what we're going to do is that we're going to put them in order into this scale, which goes from 0% of the times to 100% of the times, right? The things that you never do, not even once, right? And the things you always do, you're constantly doing. Here we have the examples. My family and I sometimes go to the sea. In the afternoon or evening, we always see friends. My brother and his family often come too. Pronunciation can be often or often. Both are correct. And she usually goes out with friends from work. Okay, so let's pause the video and try to put them in the correct order from 0 to 100. Okay, so of course we have here never. For example, I never go to parties on weekdays, for example. Yes. Then, number one, what would be closest to never would be the word sometimes. Sometimes. A few times, right? Sometimes we go to the sea. Number two would be often. Never, sometimes, often, usually, which is more likely, right? And always. I always drink coffee in the morning. That's a routine, that's a habit. Yes? And how often do you do something? I always drink coffee in the morning. Very good. I'm going to upload exercises about this. They should already be uploaded to the virtual classroom so you can practice in there. Okay? Now, let's talk a bit about pronunciation. We haven't had much time to talk about this, but we're going to do a very interesting activity. So, remember I told you that the red dots indicate the stress of a syllable, right? And the stress of a syllable means which syllable in each word is the strongest in terms of sound. So, here we have examples of words, right? And what you have to do is you have to classify them into the correct category. So each category represents a different number of syllables. 2 syllables, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 4. Yes? So the bigger dot in this case is going to represent the syllable which is stressed. So here we have the first example. It's always. 2 syllables, and the first one is stressed. We don't say always. That would be in this case, right? But the correct pronunciation is this one. Now, pay attention because syllables in English are different from Spanish. In Spanish, we count syllable as we write the words, right? But in English, syllables are divided in terms of sound. Yes, not in terms of how you write it, but how you pronounce it, right? So that is going to be a very, very big thing you would learn in the future and with practice. So I'm going to, you can pause the video now. I'm going to give you some times so you can classify them according to what you think is correct, okay? Don't worry if you make mistakes. This is just about practice, okay? Okay, so let's see. We're going to check with the
Track
listeners.
35.
1,
Always. Sometimes.
See, we have sometimes. In Spanish, it would be something like sa, ta, But in English, we say sometimes. Sometimes. 2 syllables.
Never.
Never,
Often.
often. Very good.
2,
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
3,
Usually.
Usually. Usually.
4,
Important.
Important.
5,
Afternoon.
Afternoon, right?
6,
Traditional.
Traditional. We have 4 syllables. Traditional. Excellent. Now, pronunciation and word stress is very, very important in English because it makes us sound a bit more fluent, a bit more natural, right? Sometimes when gringos come to our country and they pronounce things weird, right, with the wrong stress, we get that feeling of, he doesn't really know how to speak Spanish. So, practice your pronunciation, practice your stress, use dictionaries to check pronunciation on words, and that will help a lot of to your fluency. Okay. Now, speaking activity. Now let's see. What do you usually do for New Year? Try to think about food and drink, people and activities. If you want, you can write something about this or maybe record an audio and send it to my email, right? In case you want to talk about this and you want my feedback, okay? But let's see. For food and drink, well, I usually spend my New Year celebration with my family, with my parents, my sister, right? And sometimes some cousins, aunts, and uncles, right? We usually eat um, sometimes Mexican food, sometimes Italian, right? We usually try to um, eat something that is not very difficult to make so we can spend more time with the people and not worry about cooking all day, right? What do you usually drink? We have things like champagne. That's the most popular one, right? My parents like to drink wine sometimes. Um, I love soft drinks or cocktails, right? And we usually eat and laugh and play games. And sometimes I go out after with my friends and go to parties and dance, right? Listen to music and all of that. Now, do you have a special traditions? There are many traditions for New Year, right? Like taking a trip around the corner with a suitcase so you can travel or eat grapes, eat lentils. Um, well, there are many, many different traditions. Do you follow one of them? That would be interesting to know. Now, we're going to move to the second grammar point of this unit. In last video, we talked about present simple negative. In the last unit, we talked about present simple positive. And now is the time for questions. Yes? So, let's pay attention first to this chart. It says complete the questions and answers in the table with do, don't, does, or doesn't. So, remember, for present simple, when in cases such as negations and questions, we make use of words which are called auxiliaries. Auxiliaries change depending on the time. we have different auxiliaries for present, for past, and for future. The auxiliaries for present simple are do and does. We use do with I, you, we, and they, and we use does with the subjects he, she, and it. Yes? Of course, in positive sentence, we don't use auxiliaries, right? We add the s at the end of the verb in some cases. For example, I say, I like chocolate. She likes chocolate. For negations, we use don't and doesn't, but we keep the same verb, right? Intact. I don't like chocolate. She doesn't like chocolate. We don't say she doesn't likes. That's not correct. We say she doesn't like. And now, for questions, what we do is very simple. We use the auxiliary as it is, do or does, but the important thing here is that we invert the roles. Instead of saying the children do anything special, do the children do anything special? No, that was a good example. Here, instead of saying she stays at home with you, we change the order and we say, does she stay at home with you? This is for all cases, so don't forget this. In every question, we are never going to start a question with the subject. Never, right? Every time we're going to use auxiliaries or W questions or any other thing apart from a verb. So pause the video now and complete this chart. We're going to check in a couple of seconds, okay? Don't forget to pause the video and do the activity. Okay, so let's check.
Track 36.
1,
Do the children do anything special?
2. Yes, they do. No, they don't. 3,
What do you usually do?
4. What do we eat? 5,
Does she stay at home with you?
6. Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. 7,
What does your wife do?
8. What does Salal mean?
Okay, very good. Now, the final activity is as put the words in order to make questions, okay? Put the words in order to make questions. You can pause the video now and we can check later. So, let's see. Number 1 we have, do you like birthdays? Do you like birthdays? I love birthdays. Number 2, what do you do in the morning? And pay attention. Here, the word do is an auxiliary, and here we're using it as a verb. If we change the subject, it would be something like that. What does she do in the morning? Yes, because the first one is the auxiliary, and then we have the verb. Yes? Is it clear? Number 3. Do you go to work? What kind of food do you eat? Do you see friends? Do you go out at night? Does your husband like birthdays. Does your husband like birthdays? See that as we're talking about your husband, he, we use the auxiliary does. And the last one, number 8, is what does your family do? Remember that family is a collective noun, which means that we talk about family as a singular, as a condensed, as a group of things, right? Un núcleo, yes, a collective noun. Very good. Now, this is a trick, yes, just in case, don't forget that. There's a formula that you can use in any question, and the order is always the same. We have W question plus auxiliary, this can vary, right? Subject, then in here we can have sometimes adverbs of frequency, sometimes, and we have the subject, the verb, and the complement. Yes, and then we finish the question. This is very common. If you analyze every question, they always follow the same order. First the W question, then the auxiliary, the adverb of frequency if we have it. In this case we don't have it. Subject, verb, and the complement. Not all elements have to be present. For example, in this case, we don't have a W question, but we still have the same order. Do, an auxiliary, you, a subject, go, a verb, and then the complement. If you pay attention here, the question is not only what, yes, not only what, the question is what kind of food. Este es el tipo de respuesta que estoy esperando, no estoy esperando un qué. No estoy, ¿qué comes? No. ¿Qué tipo de comida comes? Right? What kind of food? Esto todo sería el W question. Then we have the auxiliary, subject, and verb. Auxiliary, subject, verb, complement. Auxiliary, subject, verb, complement. Auxiliary, subject, verb, complement. W question, auxiliary, subject, verb, complement. So if you learn this formula, this is going to help you to create questions in the future as well. I'm going to leave a ton of exercises for you to practice, and remember that we can always talk in the online lesson to share questions and to keep practicing and studying a bit more. Okay, so I will be contacting you in a few days for more instructions. All right, take care. Bye bye.